Like, I paid all this money, I spent all this time, and I was actually going to drop out of psychology.
You paid all this money? You paid? Wait. Carissa, welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So this is exciting for me. So for the audience, my daughter here, I'm gonna interview her about really high school to university transitioning, some of the choices she had to make with different courses or programs, and really to inspire the young people to achieve what they want to achieve in life and go to the direction they want to go in, and don't let things hold you back. So hopefully this interview inspires some of the young people in high school transitioning to post-secondary education. So let's start now. So Carissa, how old are you?
I am 23 going on 24 next year.
Right. And just to let the people know, Carissa is my wife and I's miracle baby, because she was supposed to be born on my wife's birthday, I believe. I think it was June 6th. But you were premature, very scary moment. But two months ahead, April, May, June, April 14th, 1998. So thank God for that. Okay, so Carissa, what high school did you go to?
I went to Stephen Leacock. That's just a few minutes away from our house in Scarborough.
Yeah, that must have been nice.
I know. All the like Tam O'Shanter, my public school, is right in our backyard, and then Buchan was connected to Leacock, so everything was like just a couple minutes away. It was very nice.
Yeah, just a question on the side. How does it feel to have parents that act as crazy as us? You know, we do some crazy Instagram videos. You don't mind, do you?
No, it's fine. It's great.
Nice. Okay, so what I want to know is, I remember when you were in, I don't know, grade 7 or 8, maybe you can tell me, your grades, were kind of, not what I wanted. But when did you start to really take school serious and say, you know what, I want to go to university and I got to get these grades?
Yeah, so basically up until grade 8, like I didn't care very much. Like the grades were mediocre. They weren't bad because like I still, did my work and everything like that, and still did a decent job. So I got some A's and B's, but I wasn't anything, it wasn't anything great. But I knew that once I got to high school that it was going to be really important for university, because you guys pushed me from when I was small and saying, gotta go to university. So I knew I had to take it seriously.
Yeah.
So yeah, ever since grade 9, as soon as I got to high school, I was like, nope, I gotta change my mindset around and like really work hard and actually get good grades. So grade 9 is when I started working hard.
Grade 9, and you pulled in some amazing grades. But you got upset sometimes when you didn't get, because you were like those high 90s and everything. But how did you tell yourself not to get upset when you got lower than a grade lower than you wanted?
It's hard. I mean, like when you work so hard, especially, and you're kind of like overachiever, perfectionist type personality, like it's really hard to accept that a grade isn't what you wanted it to be or what you thought you deserved. But I think it's just important, and I've like heard from so many people too, to just like, and I've learned more as I've gotten older, just not to let your grades define you. Like it's not necessarily always your fault why you didn't do well. Like you could have studied super hard and not done great, but it could have just been the test, or you didn't get enough sleep that day. It's a bunch of factors that could have contributed. But yeah, you just need to not associate the bad grade with, negative personal attributes or anything like that. And it takes practice for sure. But yeah, you have to definitely just be kind to yourself, and you're not going to do well in everything, unfortunately. But the hard work does pay off for the most part. So,
yeah. So Krista, when it comes to studying, you had some late nights there. I remember sometimes I was getting up to go to work at 5 in the morning, and you were still awake studying. So where did that study discipline or habit come from?
I am flattered that you call it discipline. I would say it's probably more lack of time management skills. I'm not, I work better at night, just it's just my personality anyways. But if I did, do more stuff in the day, it would benefit me in the long run. But that's just how I am. But no, I just because I know if I don't stay up, like if I don't do that and push myself to stay up, like I'm not going to feel ready. Like I never go to sleep unless I feel 100% ready for like a test or exam, because like I don't want to go in not prepared. Like it's like just not a good feeling. So I will do whatever I have to do and stay up, just because the doing well is so important to me. So I'll do whatever I have to do. A couple all-nighters, that's okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, good. But did it help that me and mommy were so like on you to get things done and get the grades? Does that help the parenting side of it? Or did that natural drive come in you? Like, I might know the answer, but let the people know.
I think it's a combination of both. Obviously, parental influence, just it makes a huge impact because children are so impressionable and everything like that. So yeah, I think you guys drilling it in my head from when I was small did definitely make a difference for sure. And it's really important to, because I see you guys all the time. So it's really important to have people there who are motivating you and pushing you, because it's really easy to be lazy and slack off and everything. So I'd say the parental influence definitely had an impact. But as I got older and learned my own skills, and like I have my motivation for why I want to do well, it comes from within too. So
Right.
mhm.
Okay. And now I like that though, parental influence. You put my vocabulary to shame. You know that, eh? I said something like your parents get on you, and you're like parental influence. What kind of language am I using here? But anyway, um, so you got the grades to get into university. What, and
Mhm.
then I believe you applied for 3 universities, maybe. What university did you apply for?
So originally, I think it was Ryerson,
Ryerson.
and what is it called? I think it's like Lauriention or something like that. I don't know where it is.
Okay.
And that was just like a just to apply type of thing.
Mhm.
And then York, of course, that was the third one.
Oh,
So
so
York.
we
Oh,
went
sorry,
to
go ahead.
McMaster for the tour, but you didn't apply.
Mhm.
You didn't apply to go
Um,
to McMaster.
no, because I think when we went, or like when I was looking after, I saw that, or maybe I just couldn't find it, but I was applying for a BA, so a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and I didn't see that on the list there. So
Oh,
I don't think I ended up applying. It's either that or maybe decided not to go through with it because of moving away from home. So
yeah.
it was one or the other. I'm not sure.
So yeah, okay. So which universities did you get into? And you ended up choosing York, but which ones did you get into?
So I actually got into all three.
Mhm.
Yay me. No, but yeah, so and I ended up choosing York. Ryerson was also really really up there for me. But York, I heard that like the decision was because York had a really good psychology department. So
Program.
I decided to
Mhm.
go with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and your first year of York, how was that? I might break this down into different categories, but
Mhm.
the experience. So, how was, first of all, the experience to meet new friends when you were at York?
So I actually did this thing called Frosh Week, if you guys remember. I was away from home for like a week. I almost died. I was really missing home a lot. Um, but it's basically, and York, I think, is one of the schools that takes Frosh Week like really seriously. Like they kind of go all out. You pay a certain amount, and they have like a bunch of events. Like we went to Wonderland, and like they throw a bunch of events and parties, and like it's a whole big thing for a week. And then the last thing was a boat cruise, actually, that you guys picked me up from on the last day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a fun experience. I'm more introverted, so it was a lot being around so many people for several days in a row, but it was a good time. I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and I had this one girl that I was really close to at the time, and I like to spend one-on-one time with people, so that was nice to have like at least one buddy that was always there with me.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I met a couple people, but I only ended up, like, I literally had 2 friends at York. That was it. Like, I didn't really do anything else. So one of them I kept from Frosh, and then another one I met in a class later on. But yeah, the experience was, it wasn't it wasn't what I entirely wanted it to be. Just in general at York, like I said, I only made like 2 friends, so I wasn't very social, and that was on me because I didn't really join much extracurriculars. And I was a commuter student, so most people just go to school and want to come home because it's a whole thing to have to commute over an hour. So
Okay.
that was me, just go and come home, and that was it. So I could have made it more than what it was, but yeah, it was okay.
No regrets, though. No regrets. So what advice would you give to someone just going to their first year of university when it comes to that friend aspect and putting themselves out there, maybe?
So I'm sure we'll talk about later, but now I have a second experience that I'm doing very different than I did at York.
Mhm.
So I kind of, the advice I would give is what I gave myself for this second try at university. So I would say go in with like an open mind. I know people always say, like, expect your grades like to drop like when you go into university. I personally did not have that experience. I'm not going to say like psychology is super easy or anything, but I didn't experience that really big grade difference from high school to university. A little bit
Mhm.
different with my new one now, but
Yeah.
I would say not necessarily everyone is going to have that great job experience. So don't go in with that mindset like, oh my god, like what am I going to do? Like my grades are going to drop. Just go in, take the courses. Just know that it's going to take some time for you to adjust. It is a big jump though from high school to university. The life is very different. So I would say definitely just be kind to yourself and know that it's going to take a little bit of time for you to actually find your style and how you like to study, and adjust to the new classes and everything like that. And socially, definitely try and join at least one extracurricular. It really
Yeah.
is nice to put yourself, it's hard, like, especially for me, like, I am one person who is definitely not super like a social butterfly. So it is harder for me to put myself out there, but definitely do it because it's rewarding. And even if you meet just at least one friend, you don't have to have a ton of friends. At least if you have your small group or even just one, it can
Mhm.
totally change the experience for you. So definitely just try and put yourself out there, try new things, and yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think you take that from me. Some people see me, doing the stand-up comedy and all this stuff, and they think I might be some kind of extrovert, but I'm really an
Mhm.
introvert, man. You know what I mean? One-on-one is my best when I'm conversating with people, but the group thing, I'll always be quiet,
Mhm.
let
Yeah.
other people shine and take the lead on the conversations. But yeah. So now let's talk about study habits. So you used to have the late nights in high school, but that didn't
Mhm.
really change, did it? In uni.
Absolutely not. No, it got worse. It got
So
worse.
it was worse.
Yeah, way worse. Because in high school, I don't even think I like, if I pulled an all-nighter, there was only maybe like a couple, like 1 or 2, and then, or maybe I'm lying, maybe it was more than that, but university just amplified. Like I pulled multiple all-nighters, and then I got to the point where maybe in high school I was staying up till 2, 3, 4, but then university 5, 6, 7. So
Wow.
no, really just bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And the class sizes. So when I went on the tour with you, and I've been to a couple universities, it's like you're talking about 1,000 people, maybe. I don't know. How was that adjustment from going from a class size, I don't know, 15 to 30 people maybe in high school to these
Mhm.
big auditoriums? Was it overwhelming?
Yeah, it was definitely it, it was definitely very different, like a very different vibe. And it's less personal as well, like high school, because it's so small in your class. You kind of get to know everybody and like your prof or your teacher and everything. And then in university, yeah, it's like that it can be, yeah, there's classes of definitely thousands, but I think it depends school to school, because the more people, the bigger your classes are. I've heard like U of T's classes are like especially huge. So yeah, but definitely like in the hundreds for sure for first
Okay.
year classes, because
Mhm.
normally they get smaller and smaller as the years go up. But yeah, it was very different. It wasn't too bad though. It was kind of like more anonymous a little bit. Like teachers don't, like the profs don't care. Like if for the most part, if you come in like late, like it's not a big deal. Then if you, unless you introduce yourself, they really don't even know who you like know you really. You're
Yeah.
kind of just numbers. So
Yeah.
yeah, very different, but not necessarily in a bad way.
Okay. And the commute for you, would you, if you had to do it again, we're about third 45 minutes, I believe, maybe an hour by bus from York, from where we live.
Mhm.
Would you have done it different, like try and get on campus, or are you glad that you got to commute home every day?
Commuting can be annoying. It's especially in the winter, it's rough waiting for that bus outside with the
Yeah.
shelters that aren't really shelters. They're just a box with some holes in it. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's rough in the winter, especially. But no, and having the experience now of moving away from home, I am very that I was commuting and coming back to you guys in my lovely home here. So and I don't think at that age, like even like obviously so many people go away when they're
Mhm.
18, but I don't think I would have been ready for it. So I'm glad that I was commuting, and I
Yeah.
saved a lot of money because rent is
Oh,
very
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, I agree too.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said. I didn't want you to go away at 18. I think it's too young. And
Yeah.
kudos to those kids that do it. But
Hmm.
because they got rid of OACs, I might have told you about that. I forgot what it stands for, but we had to take, after grade 12, one more course, one more,
Hmm.
not course, one more year, and we had to get 6 OACs, Ontario Academic something maybe. So we were going to university at 19, where you went at 18, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. So 1 year younger. 1 year makes a difference. But
Yes.
okay. So let me know, what did you graduate from? How long were you at York, and what did you get your degree in?
So I took a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. It was originally a 4-year honors program, but I had the little career switch. So I decided to they had a 3-year option, thank God. So I switched to that instead. And then, but I really like to do that. I had to go to summer school
Mhm.
the summer before I graduated, and that was one of the hardest experiences of my life, was doing summer school, because
Yeah.
the I did 4 courses, and because it's summer, everything is like cut in half and
Yeah.
rushed and everything, so it was awful. And they were all 8:30 a.m. classes, like 4 or 5 days a week. I was so miserable for 6 weeks. It was awful.
I remember.
But yeah, but I had to do it to get the degree, so it's fine. But yeah, so doing that allowed me to get the credits I needed on time to graduate, and then I didn't go to graduation. I just got the paper, and you guys took me to go get the paper, and then that was in November, I think, where I got the little degree that's in up there, and
Yeah.
yeah, so.
And the year, it was 2 years ago now, right?
Yeah, I graduated, I think it was
Before.
2017.
Oh, 2017. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, the
Or
years are just in
no,
2018.
maybe
2018.
it's 2018. I'm like, wait, was it the year I went to Costa Rica? 'Cause maybe it was 2019.
2019.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking way too far.
Yeah.
2019.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let the people know you made a decision to go into a new program. Um, and it's really heartfelt. So let the people know what program you're in or going to go in and why you made that career switch. Career switch, you know
Okay.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, I could say the long version of the story, but I'll spare you guys. I'm the worst at explaining things, take too long, but I'll be quick here. So, basically, in what I think is really normal that can happen when you're going through your degree, sometimes you have doubts about what you're doing. It's really hard to pick something you want to do forever. Like at 18, it's kind of ridiculous. And a lot of people change their mind. I didn't think this was going to happen to me because I kind of was set on psychology ever since like middle school. Ever since I heard about it, I thought it was interesting, and I just stuck with that. And then I just figured that's what I was going to do. I was going to become a psychologist. Like I had a plan, and it was all good. And then when I was going through the degree, I really enjoyed it. It's psychology is very interesting field. I took so many interesting classes, but I was starting to look into, okay, what happens after undergrad? And I know that, to become a psychologist, you need master's, PhD, the whole thing. I don't mind school. I don't have a problem with doing school, but just what a master's entails and PhD entails, I was starting to look into that. And I was like, I don't know, like if this is for me, if I can do this. And I started like having a lot of doubts, going through a little bit of a crisis. And in the middle of this happening, this was in second year. So in the middle of this happening, our dog, Abby, she passed away pretty suddenly. And it was like devastating for all of us. It was one of the worst experiences ever. And because it happened so suddenly, it's like we didn't have time to process what was going on, and it hit me, like I'm sure you guys too, but it hit me really hard because out of our two dogs, like Abby was just super close to me, and so it was really rough. And the whole experience in dealing with the veterinarian and everything, it kind of just stuck with me. And so I remember that week that it happened, just thinking about it. And what's funny is within the past, like, I don't know, now maybe like 7, 8 years, I've looked up what it takes, to be a veterinarian. And before this happened, and I shut myself down because I was like, oh, like I saw like science and math, and I was like, oh my God, I was like, there's no way like I could do that. So then I just shut it out. And then this happened, and the idea kind of popped in my head again. And then that's when I really started thinking about it. I remember having a conversation with Mom, and I was like, I don't know, I'm like considering this. And I told her how I was feeling about psychology and everything. And then we decided to go to get a tour of OBC, which is the Ontario Veterinary College. And just to check it out, see what the program is like, what the school is like. And so ever since that moment, I have been researching and finding out everything I need to do to get into OBC in the future. So because I told myself, why am I saying, no, I can't do this when I haven't even tried? Like, I wasn't even giving myself the chance. Like, yes, the science and math is harder, like more challenging in a different way than psychology. So I was like, I was not giving myself enough credit, and I was not giving myself the chance to try. So once I got that believe in yourself, like give yourself a chance in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this because it feels like the right thing to do. So when I started looking up everything, we went to OC, had a tour, and I loved it. And I was like, I think I actually want to do this. But the problem was this was halfway through my degree, and I was like, oh my God, I'm changing my mind. Like, this is like, I paid all this money, I spent all this time, and I was actually going to drop out of psychology and just go into a science program, and then hopefully get into OBC later.
Wait, but you paid all this money? You paid? Wait. You know how funny that sounds, right?
My bad, you guys.
No, it's okay.
You guys need to get the credit too.
You paid all this money? Okay, go on.
My parents paid all this money. But yeah, no, so
no credit in here, but
I know.
Go on.
So So yeah, so I was actually going to drop out of psych, and after talking to an advisor and everything, because I was like looking at Ryerson first, and
Mhm.
she was like, "Why don't you check if York has like a 3-year option, and maybe you can actually get a degree for all the work you've done already." So long story short, figured out I could do the 3-year instead, and I just explained that before already. So I
Mhm.
got the degree, and then I was like, shoot, I did not do very well in advanced functions in grade 12 math.
Yeah.
Shoot, I didn't take physics. Shoot, I didn't do so well in chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. And it was just another barrier I had to go, like, I had to pass. And so I had to actually go online, upgrade my high school marks for, I did grade 11 physics, I took grade 12 chem and math again. So I
Mhm.
could boost them up so that I could have better chances of getting in. And then I applied to Ryerson, which was actually where I wanted to go. And then I applied, and then I don't know, I guess I had a conversation with you guys or mom, and we I was like, I wanted a backup if I didn't get in. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, well, but then we were like, oh God, like then I'd have to leave
Yeah.
if that happens. And then that was the whole thing. But then it actually ended up switching around, and Guelph was my first option. Ryerson was my backup.
Mhm.
For both I applied to biology because that was just it's just general, and it could get me like the foundation, the base courses I need to apply to OBC later. So yeah, so that's basically what I'm doing now. I'm in my second year of biological science at Guelph, and I hope to get into OBC sometime in the near future. I'm applying next year, so we'll see what happens. But that is the long story. I'm sorry, but that's all it is.
Yeah, man. And the people got to know. I'm so proud of you, man. Like having a daughter like you, like, and you also worked at
Oh
Red
yeah.
Lobster with mom. You would come home and study and go to work the next day, and then you just put in the work.
Mhm.
You were able to buy your own car. Like it's just amazing when you put the effort out there, and you try, and you put your 100%, and it's just positive. You know what I mean? And you keep positive. The things that come out, you
Thank
make
you.
me proud. You make me proud.
Thank
Um,
you.
so one of the last two questions I'm going to ask you is like, you're going to Guelph University now, and you had to move out.
Mhm.
So it was a little bit easier for me now than if you were 18 and doing it,
Mhm.
because you're responsible and everything now, and now you have a way to commute back and forth. But
Yes.
how was that, transition? And you can let the people know how it affects you. Like, let the people know, what you call mommy and thing. But
Oh, I will. I
yeah,
will. I'll
yeah.
let them know.
How was it moving out? Because you live with roommates now, but how
Mhm.
was it moving out for the first time?
Um, right now, I'm okay. Spoiler, I'm fine, but in the beginning, it was awful. It was so awful. I was so excited. I didn't really go in with any expectations. I was just like, okay, we're gonna experience this and see what happens. Um, but the first month and a half, I am an emotional wreck sometimes. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm just a mess sometimes, and I'm an emotional person. And for that first month and a half, I cried pretty much every single day.
Yeah.
It was so hard, and the littlest things would trigger me. Like I just like looking at a picture of you guys, or even sometimes I couldn't talk on the phone with mom without hearing her voice and just crying.
Mhm.
And it's just it was really hard, and mainly because I was homesick. And you
Mhm.
just like when you live in a place for so long, you get comfortable, and then I feel like at home with your parents, like that's your life for most of your life. And
Yeah.
so moving away for the first time, I know it might be like easier for some people, but yeah, for me, it was really rough. And so, really the phone calls, the FaceTimes have helped me get through it a lot. And just making sure I am one not to bottle up my feelings at all. I will talk your ear off about my feelings,
Yeah, yeah.
because I need to get it out. But yeah, it was a rough adjustment, and learning how to like take care of myself. And I can't be buying Uber Eats every day. I gotta cook for myself, and I don't like the cooking at all. I really don't like cooking. But the cleaning I don't mind. So the
Mhm.
cleaning's fine. And having roommates, it's a good experience, but I think just based on my personality, I would be okay living on my own.
Yeah.
But we all get along, and I could have a way worse situation. So I'm happy with the roommates and everything. They're very sweet. And yeah, it's a good experience. Like, I'm so glad that I did it.
Mhm.
And but yeah, Dad, I come here every weekend. I'd rather
Yeah,
be
yeah.
here. But yeah, nothing will beat home though. I think everyone can agree on that. It's just not the same, but it is a really good experience, and I become like even more independent, and it's kind of nice to, like, even though you guys give me a lot of freedom when I'm here, it's just different when you're on your own,
Yeah.
and you don't want to tell anybody when you're coming home or like
Yeah,
where you're
yeah.
going, and it's just like it's a different feeling. And having my car too, like I can just come home when I please, go anywhere. So yeah, and then Guelph, it's a small town. I prefer Toronto just because it's a little bigger. Like Guelph, like everything is pretty much 10 minutes away from me. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nice, but it kind of gets old. But no, it's a cute little city. And the school, I feel like the school is kind of a little bit like the heart of the city, and like everything else is around it. So I've
Mhm.
enjoyed going to campus when I could. And yeah, it was rough in the beginning, but it's been a good experience. And anyone who is moving out for the first time, I would just say, you know, uh, make sure you have strong if you are going to struggle, it helps to have strong connections with somebody. So at least have a person there for you that can be there and empathize with you. And if you're close with your family, I promise these calls and the FaceTimes, they mean so much. And you guys have supported me so much and talk to me whenever I'm upset. And shout out to Patrick, my boyfriend, and Adam, my best friend. They really got me through it as well. So yeah, having those strong connections really helps you get through those hard times. So yeah.
Yeah, shout out Adam, man. He's watching my real talk videos all the time.
Yeah.
You said something that I was shocked at, like not shocked, surprised. You said for me, like you would listen to the real talk um episodes to help you to see me or something like that. You said, right?
Yeah, because like it sucks not seeing you guys often. So, and we're all busy. Like you're working, mom's going to school and working. And so I really enjoy watching your interviews because there's one time in particular, like it was past the whole emotional mess time, but
Mm.
I remember I hadn't had the chance to catch up on your videos. I was like a couple behind, and then I was getting ready for bed, at 5 in the morning, and I was brushing my teeth. I was watching an interview with you, and I was like, it's so nice to see Dad, because it's just like, and you're so funny, and like I love your personality and everything, and I don't get it enough when I'm not living here. So it's really nice to watch the videos. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the people don't know how crazy we really act at home, man.
Mhm.
If they seen, man, I don't know what would happen to me. In-person learning versus virtual learning. So, you you got into Guelph right when COVID hit. Um, so you had to start off virtual, and you actually first first semester was it here at home in
Yeah.
Scarborough, and now you're living in Guelph. But let me
Mhm.
know the difference or the contrast between in-person and virtual learning.
All right. I am team in-person learning, just to start this off. So I am not a fan. My whole degree so far has been online. So very disappointing because I am lucky enough to have experienced in-person learning
Yeah.
first
Yep.
at York before this whole mess happened. So because although we do some people have had in-person classes during this time, it's not with the mask, it's just not the same experience as it was when
Mhm.
everything was normal. So I would say the reason I prefer in-person classes is because the quality is just better. Like
Okay.
I feel like a lot, like just shoving everything online. First of all, it's exhausting to have to sit at your computer for hours and hours. Probably like I would say, like, on average, at least I'm on my computer like 9, 10, even sometimes 12 hours a day. So
Whoa.
it's exhausting to have to sit there and like, because all the work you do is on your computer as well, because everything in the world is all tech now. So it's exhausting. So it's hard in that aspect. And, having to, I was fortunate to have an in-person class this year, just one. But
Mhm.
last year when I was here and it was all virtual, I was just at my desk for every class, and you don't kind of get that change of pace of switching classes. Just going from one classroom to the next is just at least like, even if you're sitting there for a while, I get tired, but just moving from one place to another just in itself is a little bit of a refresher. Even if you have classes back to back, it's exhausting being in person too if you have a lot, but I would say it's just a different type just when you have to sit and stare at the computer.
Yeah.
So I would say, and I feel like, not to say like profs are lazy or anything like that, some of them are, but it's hard to when you don't have lectures, or because some classes are just strictly online where there is no lectures anyways. But
Mhm.
sometimes if the class is pushed online, they might do more online than they would do, in
Mhm.
person. So if they don't do lectures or whatever. So I find it very hard to motivate when you're just sitting there reading something, and like when I don't have anybody to watch, it's difficult. But I can see why some people really like it. Like, there is a convenience aspect to it, because if your lectures are recorded, you can just go back, watch it whenever you want. You can oversleep if you have an 8:30 class and just watch the lecture later. Another popular thing is to put it on like 2 times speed, and then you can get it done a lot faster than you would if you were sitting there. So
Mhm.
there are some benefits, but to me, university, it was made to be in
In
person. So
person.
that's where I think you're going to get the best quality, is if it's in person. So the experience, for me, I just prefer in person. So
Mhm.
this whole thing has been quite unfortunate. I feel really bad, especially for, I mean, I'm a university student. I can handle myself and all that, but the kids, like, it's really unfortunate for them, the younger kids, and the people who are getting cheated out of, if they're in grade 12 and they don't have
Yeah.
prom, and it really, really sucked for a lot of people. So, yeah, but that's my personal experience with the two versus each other.
Yeah. Um, Now, when it comes to money, finances, so,
Mm.
when you were young, I opened the RESP for you, the education fund, because I knew it would help out in York, and it paid for your whole York University
Mhm.
education, and
Yes.
even with Guelph. But one thing you did is work like crazy hours, and
Mhm.
you saved us so much money, which helped out. But when it comes to work and school, you did it when you were at York. Um, and in Guelph, first year online, you were still working.
Mhm.
But would you recommend that to people going into university for the first year?
I would say, uh, don't feel pressured to do it. I mean, some people don't have a choice and they
Right,
have to, but
right.
like, if you're a particular person in a situation where you are just kind of deciding, should I do this or not? I mean, I think it really depends on the individual and what your goals are, because and what stage you're at. Because for example, me right now, because I'm applying to vet school soon, my grades are super important, so I don't want anything to take me away. Unfortunately, grades are the most important thing, which sucks, but that's the way it is. So I just want to do everything I can to get the grades I need and not have anything that I can control messing that up. So that's why I'm choosing not to have a job right now. Uh, but in the summer, when I'm not going to school, I would definitely recommend that. Like, if you're that's what a lot of people do. They take the school year off and just work their butt off in the summer. So
Mhm.
I'd say that's a really smart thing if you do want to have a job kind of while you're in university. Because some people, even last year, I took a summer course, so I was taking one course still, and then I worked 2 jobs. But if you are considering actually during the school year, I would say it's doable. I did it. So, I mean, it can be done, of course, but it's really a time management thing. And that's one thing. Like, one piece of advice I would give is work on your time management, because I
Yeah.
still don't have great time management. I think it's a skill that literally can always be improved, because it's in university, it's very different from high school in the sense that it's a lot of self-discipline. Like you don't have anybody down your throat, like you
Yeah.
need to get this done and everything. So if you're pretty decent with time management, I would definitely say it's a good idea, especially because we have to pay all this money for school. OSAP
Yeah.
doesn't cover everything. So if you want to do it, do it. But most importantly, don't like overwork yourself, because I worked a lot, but I mainly did the weekends. I would do the odd weekday, but I would mainly do the weekends. So don't do too much. Don't take on too much on your plate, because you will burn out. So just take it easy, and maybe even start off, like if the job is flexible enough, start off with 1 or 2 days. If you feel like, if when you get a grasp on your semester, if you feel like you can take more, then take on more, but always start light. Don't overwhelm yourself, because university in itself is like a job, to be honest. So if you can't, don't even feel bad about not working, because it's not easy to do it. So yeah.
Yeah, I respect you for that. The hours you put in. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. So, so Carissa, for season 2, you're the first guest. And I'm so happy to have my daughter for the first guest of season 2. Um, and I'm introducing something new. So I have 2 questions,
Okay.
and you're gonna have to answer one of them. Which
All right.
question do you want me to read? My left hand or my right hand?
Mm. Let's do the right.
What is one of the most memorable moments of your life?
Okay. So I had to pick one. It actually happened this past summer. So I worked at an animal hospital, and I'll just shout them out because they're awesome. Pickering Animal Hospital. And
Pickering
basic,
Animal Hospital.
yes.
Mhm.
And it was a really special job because it was my first. I've done some shadowing at a couple of other clinics, but it was my first actual job. And it was basically full time. I worked, I think close to anywhere between 30 and 40 hours a week. So it was quite a bit. And even though I've worked for so many years, I haven't worked that much, like an actual like full-time job. So it was
Mhm.
very special in that sense. And also that it was my first gig in an animal hospital. So it was really important because I need this clinical experience for applying to OPC later on. So all I wanted for this experience was for it to go well, because I was like, this isn't just any random serving job or customer service job. This is my future, right?
Mhm.
So I just wanted to do well and impress them, just make a good impression. And that was so important to me the whole time. I was just like, oh, I hope she thinks, my boss that hired me, the owner of the clinic, I was like, I hope she thinks she made the right choice. And that was in my mind all summer. And I really, from the very beginning, I took initiative. I worked very hard. I was flexible. I helped them out when I could. And I think I'm just a very naturally hard worker. So I just put that into this job as well. I did my best, and they saw that. And so on my last day, I have another doctor there that I really like as well. And both of them kind of had a little talk with me.
Mhm.
And especially the owner, she pulled me aside, and she just was basically telling me how amazing of a job I did. And, if I needed a job next summer, that I can totally come back and she'll hire me again. And the other doctor too, saying around the same, not to hire me, 'cause it's not the boss, but the same sort of things, that, like I've been great and everything. And just to get, like, it just almost brought me to tears, both of them, because to have worked so hard and have people you look up to because you want to be like them one day, and to have them look at you and say, like, you did a really good job and
Mhm.
I'll have you back anytime, you're wonderful. Like, oh, it makes me almost want to cry now. Like, it meant everything to me. And because the whole time I had in my head, I hope I'm like just proving myself and doing a good job, and just to have that validation from like people who are so important and who I look up to, it's just everything. So I'll never forget that day. So that that's my most memorable moment.
Thank you for sharing that. And I bet you have a lot more, and that's why I'm asking the guests to share one. So thanks for sharing that. Now, we've come to the point in the interview where you're going to pick a balloon that I have to pop, and I'm going to be donating to one of my new causes. So it might be a charity, it might be a cause. So we have Up With Women, we have the Mississauga Humane Society, and we have the Fundraiser Warriors.
Okay.
So hold on.
Ooh, we've upgraded to colors now. Wow.
Yeah. So Carissa, I'm holding 3 balloons in my hand. Tell me which color you want me to pop.
Come on, Dad. I want the blue one. It's my favorite color.
So the first charity that Star Scorpio is donating to in season 2 is the Mississauga Humane Society.
The universe is crazy.
Wow, look at that.
Literally crazy.
Veterinarian, Mississauga Humane Society. It's
I knew
amazing.
it. Of course.
Yeah, this happens. That happened twice. It happened to me with Lamin for ALS. My friend Lamin that passed. The first donation went to ALS. It happened to Crystal Ferrier. Her friend passed of cancer, and she, picked the one with the Cancer Society. And now you, Mississauga Humane Society. This is amazing. The special bonus episode that I did with my boy Z, DJ Z, he actually picked this, but he was the conclusion, the last episode for season 1, the special bonus episode. So for season 2, Mississauga Humane Society. Carissa, thank you for coming out today. I know you're just upstairs. I'm in the basement.
Yeah.
But first episode of Real Talk with Star Scorpio season 2 is in the books, and we out.
Bye.